Hey everybody, it's Tara Green here. I want to welcome you to June's. Let's see, is anybody there? Welcome you to June. Okay, there we go. Everybody see me there? Okay. Hi everybody, Tara Green here. I'm up in Toronto, Canada. I'm Agent 129 of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. I'll just wait a few minutes for people to come on here. I kind of just started the live myself. It is Saturday. It is May 31st. I know we all can't believe that May is over already, and we're already in June, already in the 6th month of 2025. So if you haven't been here before, this is a feature that I'm very happy to do for the Cosmic Intelligence Agency for at least 4 years, I think every month. So come on and say hi. Let me know where you're from. Okay, I don't see anybody there. So I just want to see if, can you see me or not? I don't see anybody there. Let's see, am I on or aren't I live? I should be able to see myself live there. Okay, it says live. I don't see anybody there. Okay, hold on a second. Hey everybody, where are you? Where is everybody? It says I'm live, I can see that. I don't see anybody there. Okay, hang on a second. Is there something going on here? Sometimes I do this, especially since Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, and I am a very fiery person. That's happening now. Okay, it says start live video here. On my phone it says start live video. All right, just a minute. Start live video. Okay, I can't do it on my phone. That's kind of odd. Okay. All right. All right, so I think there's some kind of a bit of a mix up here. Ah, there you go. Okay. Hi, Linnell. Okay, I don't know what happened there. It says I'm live. I'm watching this on Facebook, and it was giving me another cue to go on. So I'll just wait a few minutes. Hi, Linnell from Australia. I'll wait a few minutes till people come on because I can't see it live here on my phone. So it makes me think that people can't really see me live. Hold on a minute. Okay, that's strange. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I can see myself. Okay, hi, Barbara. Okay, hi, a few people. Okay, now I can see you there. Okay, my friend Barbara's out there from BC, British Columbia, Canada. I see a few other people. Please come and say hi and let me know where you're from. All right. So somebody from Seattle. Great. Hi, Edie from Seattle. I am Tara Green. If you haven't been here before, I will explain a little bit about how this goes. So I will talk about all the astrology aspects. Okay, now I can see did my homework here. All the astrology aspects that changes every month, depending, of course, on what's happening in the skies. And then I will do live tarot card readings for you too. So I've got my usual, sometimes I use the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I usually use this Toff Tarot deck. And we are moving from the month of Gemini into Cancer time. It is the solstice coming up this month. It's really mind-blowing, right? That how the hell did we get to this month already? Okay, and then I'm going to give you some extra help with the Muse Tarot. This is a really beautiful, one of my favorite modern decks. I haven't used it for a while. By another Canadian, actually, wonderful designer, graphic designer, very, very popular. Okay, so please come on and say hi, and yeah, bear with me while I do the astrology news here, and I give you all the different aspects. But first, a little bit of a preview. You can all hear me okay? All right, the overview. There's the third major planetary change up this year, which will not happen. This one won't happen in 2026 because it's locking in this year, is Jupiter enters Cancer, June the 9th. Now, for all you Geminis, you better hurry up and finish up all your good luck stuff before Jupiter enters Cancer. And Jupiter is considered to be exalted in Cancer, which means it's really expressing itself at the best. So all you Cancers, this is your best year in 12, or wherever Cancer is in your astrology chart. You want to check that out. Now, Mercury jaunts through 2 signs, goes through Cancer and enters Leo this month. Venus goes home to her earthy rulership in Taurus, which is all good for all you Tauruses. Mars enters Virgo. So again, lots of earth, lots of water, lots of fire coming up here. But really the energy is shifting into more earth and water this month. Uranus gets to the 29th, the last critical degree of Taurus this month, and it will change sign in July. So there's a full moon June the 11th in Sagittarius, and then summer solstice is on the 20th in the northern hemisphere, the 21st in the southern, where the Cosmic Intelligence Agency comes from in Australia. The new moon in Cancer is June 25th. Okay, so let's get down to the details. June the 1st, Chiron, Eris, and Venus are having a conjunction at 25 plus degrees of Aries. I'm going to write an article about that. I started. Chiron and Eris have been together since May 26th, but now Venus enters. This is a really interesting cycle because Chiron has a 50-year cycle, Eris has a 500-year cycle. So there's a resonance, everything's about quantum fractals. So it's very interesting. So Eris is Mars's sister in Greek mythology, Eris, Aries, traditionally, and she is the Disturbia goddess. She's the one that threw the golden apple into the three goddesses. The golden apple said, "Who is the most beautiful?" And it was Aphrodite, Athena, I can't remember who else now. But anyway, that eventually started the Trojan War. So she's a Disturbia goddess. So any disruptions, disturbances in your love life, your values, all the Venusian things, beauty, good time to maybe change up your beauty routine. And Chiron, where you're wounded, where you're the most vulnerable, where you want to open that up, because Chiron's been in Aries where it's very defensive, right, for the last 7 years more, or 7 years in total. Okay. Okay, next aspect. On June the 4th, Venus in Aries sextiles Jupiter in Gemini. Now, all these Earth, water planets are in sextile. There's a lot of them. I haven't even listed all of them because there's so many of them. So that's harmony. Okay, Earth, water, harmonious, yin, practical, emotional. So, and everything's been very emotional. You know that. Okay. So that happens at 7:32 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 10:32 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and June the 5th at 2:32 a.m. GMT. But that could be a good time to talk about, to think about, to analyze in a way your values, your new values within love, right? Okay. On the 5th of June, Mercury in Gemini in its home sign sextiles Mars in Leo. Mars in Leo, is very proud, speaking from the heart. 3:10 p.m. PDT, 6:10 PM EDT, 10:10 p.m. GMT. June the 5th, Venus enters her home sign of Taurus. Yay for all the Tauruses, and it's good for Libras too. 9:43 p.m. EDT, when a planet is in its home sign where it rules, it's very happy, it expresses itself at the best. And on the 6th, Venus enters Taurus at 12:43 a.m. EDT, 4:43 a.m. GMT. So again, sensual time. Our love values, love languages are very earthy. Get great time to get massages, to get your fingers in the dirt. You can see I'm in garden time. That's why my nail polish is all messed up. Get yourself in the dirt, get gardening, make art, make love, make beautiful things. Be in the body, really nurture and enjoy being in the body and in the Garden of Eden. On June the 7th, Mercury at the very last degree of Gemini, conjunct the North Star, conjuncts Jupiter. Great time to give a big speech, to launch a project, a product, marketing. Mercury is the original merchandiser planet. And again, that's a very strong, anybody who has planets, or if you're born around June the 19th, 20th, 21st, planet is right on the North Star, and everybody revolves around that North Star. June the 8th, Mercury enters Cancer. So we go from Mercury being in its heady, mercurial, flipping from one side off on angel, devil to Cancer. So our minds and our emotions are one. This is a good thing. 3:58 p.m. PDT, 6:58 p.m. EDT, 10:58 p.m. GMT. So again, Mercury in Cancer, we can talk about our feelings. We can express them clearer. It's like the water's clearer now. There's no duality anymore. We're talking with our stomachs basically, and your tummy will talk to you and tell you what you should eat or not, and you are what you eat. So again, moods are a little bit mitigated with the mind. Okay, can analyze the feelings better. Good time to write them out. Again, Mercury is the messenger, the writer, journal your feelings, what you've been going through. It is very intense. I know, because I'm transducing, going through all this stuff myself for the collective. All right, on the 9th, Mercury squares Saturn in Aries, 3:48 a.m. PDT, 6:48 a.m. EDT, 10:48 a.m. GMT. So there's new emotions and boundaries. Saturn is the boundary giver with family. Okay. June the 9th, Venus in Taurus squares Pluto. Now, this is a big wealth marker. Venus, money in Taurus, stock market, bull market, with Pluto, the plutocrats, big wealth. 10:28, so if you do the market, 10:28 a.m. PDT, 1:20 p.m. EDT, 5:20 p.m. GMT, good for investing, for the stock market, for housing, okay? Anything blue chip, okay? June the 9th, Jupiter enters Cancer, big deal. We should do a welcome party. I will do probably a workshop. I am doing a workshop, actually, which I'll mention at the end. For Jupiter in Cancer, 2:02 p.m. PDT, 5:02 p.m. EDT, 9:02 p.m. GMT, for a whole year ahead. So again, for Cancers, this is your best year in 12. And look at where Cancer is in your own astrology chart to find out where Jupiter will expand you, okay? So Jupiter will expand families, values, working from home, food, nurturing, the need to nurture, emotional sentimental awash and all that, flooding, tsunamis, children, mothers, best time to get pregnant, Jupiter in Cancer, okay? Now, on the 10th, Mars trines Chiron in Aries, 12:36 a.m. PDT, 3:36 a.m. EDT, 7:36 a.m. GMT. Again, Mars, the action planet from Leo, from the heart, trining Chiron, a really good time to make some progress with healing those old wounds and really speaking out from the heart. June the 11th, the full moon is at 20 Sagittarius, 39 minutes at 12:44 a.m. PDT, 3:44 a.m. EDT, 7:44 a.m. GMT. Again, 20 Sag is close to what's called the galactic center at 26, 27 Sag. So you want to focus on, Sagittarius Centaur aims its arrow at the angle of the galactic center to the Earth. So you want to think higher. You want to plan travel, education, publishing. That's what that moon is for. Okay, that full moon, fruition. Okay, June the 11th, Mercury sextiles Venus in Taurus. Again, very good positive energy there. 12:41 p.m. PDT, 3:41 p.m. EDT, 7:41 p.m. GMT. On the 15th, Mars squares Uranus. So that's an anything can happen day. Again, heart attacks, because Uranus is at that 29th degree, and so is Mars in Leo. So again, they've been warning President Trump, his ascendant, I know, is 28, 29 is Mars, is there. They're warning that he can have a heart attack, or he could be killed, or another attempted assassination. But anybody with planets at 29, Leo, all the fixed signs, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio, could have a very unpredictable day. But in general, markets could be all over the place, unexpected. Again, leaders, King Charles, that's usually predicted on eclipses, but this is a very erratic, could be internet outages and things like that. 2:47 a.m. PDT, 5:47 a.m. EDT, 9:47 a.m. GMT. Again, you want to look at where these, if you have any degrees, thank you. I'm speaking from my heart. Thank you. If you have any angles even in your chart, like I know I have 28 Leo at the top of my chart, so that one's going to affect me. So I'm going to mark that on my calendar. June 15th, Jupiter squares Saturn. Now that's a 1 every 3-year aspect at 1 degree, Cancer, Aries, and again, it will affect all the first degrees of all the cardinal signs, right? So Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. 7:36 a.m. PDT, 10:36 a.m. EDT, and it's on June the 16th at 2:36 p.m. GMT. On the 17th, Sun sextiles Chiron, again, 12:16 a.m. PDT, 3:16 a.m. EDT, 7:16 a.m. GMT. Again, a good time to really heal a lot of family squabbles. So many people separate from their families these days and carry grudges, and it's like time to let that go. Where are we here? Mars enters Virgo June 17th as well. 1:35 a.m. PDT, 4:35 a.m. EDT, 8:35 a.m. GMT. This is a passion for work, for drive to get your health together. Forget those New Year's resolutions. This is the time to do it with Mars in Virgo. Now, be fair warned that when Mars is in Virgo, you are going to have upset, indigestion, stomachs with Jupiter in Cancer, and then Mars in Virgo is the upper digestion. I know for a fact. Myself personally, I only have my South Node in Virgo, but when Mars is in Virgo, it really upsets my digestion. So make sure you get probiotics, But it's, if you want to change your job, if you want to get really disciplined, that's a good one. Yeah, so that's a good one. Savings, a Virgo thing, being on point, a little OCD can make people a little more OCD. Harvesting, what do you want to harvest? It's the beginning of the summer, actually. Think about what you want to harvest at the end of the summer when we get to 3 months from now when it's the autumn equinox. Okay, June the 18th, Venus squares Neptune. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. When they're in any aspect, they are, amping each other up. So it's very idealistic as well. 8:16 p.m. PDT, 11:16 p.m. EDT. On the 19th, Venus square Neptune at 3:46 a.m. GMT. Could be enhancing your dreams. So it's a great time to meditate, to visualize, to draw images of what you want, to really connect with those higher spiritual beings. Okay. June the 19th, Mars in conjunction quincunxus Saturn, 5:06 p.m. PDT, 8:06 p.m. EDT. June the 20th, 12:06 a.m. GMT. At quincunx is when planets are 150 degrees apart and they can't see each other. So it's the blind spot, right? So Mars can't see Saturn, though. Those are considered to be the two malefics in astrology. So watch your back there. Sudden, unexpected things, or what didn't I see? So just be more aware. I don't want to scare anybody, just to be more aware. It's a tricky, sticky situation. Again, health issues, Mars and Virgo. Structures, Saturn rule structures, limitations. On June the 20th, it's the solstice, big celebration day, the most powerful day of the year, one of the four most powerful days in the year, the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. It's called Litha. It's a pagan celebration. 7:42 p.m. PDT, 10:42 p.m. EDT, and on the 21st, down south there, beginning of winter in the Southern Hemisphere at 2:42 a.m. GMT. So happy summer, winter. June the 20th. Did I miss something here? I think I know. Oh, okay, I get it. Mars and Virgo in conjunction Neptune and Aries. Okay. 8:14 p.m. PDT, 11:14 p.m. EDT. And on the 21st, 3:14 a.m. GMT. Am I repeating myself here? Tricky aspects. I think there was a couple of quincunxes in a row. That sounds like a weird nursery rhyme or something. Realistic Mars and Virgo, kind of inconjunct, incompatible, doesn't see eye to eye, can't see each other's elements with dreamy, angry, driven Neptune and Aries. We're dreaming new dreams in the collective right now. On the 22nd, Mars in Virgo sextiles Jupiter in Cancer, 8:14 p.m. PDT, 11:14 p.m. EDT. On the 23rd at 3:14 a.m. GMT. Again, big tummy things. Good time to have a big meal. Invite your family over, get them together. June 22nd, the Sun squares Saturn, 11:36 a.m. PDT, 2:36 p.m. EDT, 6:36 p.m. GMT. So again, this is Saturn and the Sun squaring off. It's always a hard aspect, right? So there could be unexpected responsibilities and father issues. Saturn is the father, right? New jobs, bosses, things like that. It's kind of a tough limiting the emotions aspect, but it's good. You can have healthy boundaries with your family. That everybody needs that. June 22nd, Mars in conjunct Pluto, 10 p.m. PDT on the 23rd at 1 a.m. EDT and 5 a.m. GMT. Again, it's a difficult Scorpio-like blind spot with Mars and Pluto in conjunct. Again, always has to do with wealth. Pluto has to do with wealth, with the unconscious, with the soul. So again, what is driving you to be so perfectionistic that you're not seeing what your soul, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, is trying to tell you what to do? So it's like a sucker punch is what my intuition says. So don't fall for that. June the 23rd, Sun squares Neptune, 2 Aries, 1:29 a.m. PDT, 4:29 a.m. EDT, 8:29 a.m. GMT. Again, the Sun can illuminate your dreams, your visions, your psychic energy. Again, you need to establish a new kind of working with the psyche, working with your emotions, working with love, higher love, compassion. That's still what Neptune always represents, whatever sign it's going through. Dreams, visions, good for artists, right? If you're dreaming of a new home, curating a new creative project, that's good to do with that. On the 23rd, Jupiter in Cancer in conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, 11:16 p.m. PDT on 2:16 a.m. EDT, 6:16 a.m. GMT. Mercury on the 24th, Mercury in Cancer squares Chiron. So again, we might be talking more about our wounds or being aggressive. Chiron in Aries can be aggressive too. 12:16 a.m. PDT, 3:16 a.m. EDT, 7:16 a.m. GMT. On the 24th, the Sun in conjuncts Pluto. So a lot of these irritable aspects in a row. So you want to pay attention to that and know that the planets are not, these major planets are not working well together right now. Friction, frustration, that's really what it means. It's, somebody hitting you from the side. 5:59 a.m. PDT, 8:59 a.m. EDT, 12:59 p.m. GMT. On June the 24th, this is one of the best days of the year, Sun conjunct Jupiter, okay, at 1 degree of Cancer. Okay, so right at the beginning, right on that solstice kind of gateway there. 8:17 a.m. PDT, 11:17 a.m. EDT, 3:17 p.m. GMT. One of the best days of the year. It's very fertile. For a lot of women who've been wanting to get pregnant, Jupiter in Cancer is the year to do it. It's very emo, it's over the top, it's homey, sentimental, motherly, foodie, again, big stomach upsets. Your stomach is going to lead you around big time. You can also put on weight this year because Jupiter kind of goes over the top, right? Too much of a good thing. On the 25th, there's a new moon at 4 degrees of Cancer, 8 minutes at 3:32 a.m. PDT, 6:32 a.m. EDT, 11:32 a.m. GMT. And again, a new moon is new beginnings. Again, very emotional, very moody. Cancer rules the moon. So you got to remember, while Jupiter's in Cancer, every time the moon changes sign, every 2.5 days, your moods change. Okay, so you really want to pay attention to that. So even though it's a new moon in Cancer, the moon is also conjuncting Jupiter, again, extra fertile. It's going to be lots of tsunamis, water flowing, emotional flowing, things with your childhood, time to give back to your ancestors and do water pujas. In Buddhism, a puja is a ceremony, a ritual that you do, and water represents wealth. So you'd go by water, you would honor water to Zambala as the wealth god in the wealth family in Buddhism. On the 26th, Mercury sextiles Uranus at 2:45 a.m. PDT, 5:45 a.m. EDT, 9:45 a.m. GMT. This represents everything in AI. Got to remember that Uranus is at the last degree of Taurus, of the practical part of Uranus being Taurus, bringing in the AI. And then when Uranus enters Gemini, it's going to be wham, like take off, like AI singularity, Uranus trine Pluto. Okay. So that's going to be really huge. So any tech stocks, stuff from Elon Musk, Tesla, any kind of new AI, NVIDIA, all those things really taking off. Mercury sextiles Uranus, good for thinking outside the box. Uranus represents creativity. It represents invention. So you can suddenly, boom, the big light bulb goes on, right? But again, it's unexpected things, can be explosions, lightning strikes, things like that. On the 26th, the Sun sextiles Virgo and Mars, 7:11 a.m. PDT, 10:11 a.m. Sorry, I'm losing track of what I'm doing here. 10:11 EDT, 2:11 p.m. GMT. It's good for making budgets. Good for making budgets, getting the details, organizing, cleaning. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Finally, you're there. All right, an old friend, finally here. June 26th, Mercury enters Leo. So for all you Leos, you're going to say it loud, proud. You want to be center stage. Really express what's in your heart. Don't be shy. You won't be shy to say what you're feeling. 12:09 p.m. PDT, 3:09 p.m. EDT, 7:09 p.m. GMT. Very heart-spoken. Wear your heart in your mouth is what I wrote here. Speak from the heart. June 27th, Mercury trines Saturn in Aries. So trines are good positive aspects. 8:53 p.m. PDT, 11:53 p.m. EDT. On the 28th at 3:53 a.m. GMT. So again, Mercury trining Saturn. That's a good one. That's just good. It's positive. Good to think, to discipline editing. Good editing time. On the 29th, Mercury opposes Pluto. So again, Leo Aquarius here. Battles, verbal battles, call-outs, power struggles, oppositions, right? 12:57 a.m. PDT, 3:57 a.m. EDT, 7:57 a.m. GMT. It's hardwired. There's a heart versus AI power structure. Yeah, and I think that's it. Okay, now somebody's saying their birthday is June 26th. Okay, so you're going to get in on that energy. All right. So now let's get to the part that you want. So what I'm going to do, well, you want all that too, I hope. Do I have anything for July 22nd? You'll have to come back next month when I do July. Okay. So I've got my special crystal. Hi, birthday, June the 6th. Hi, Gemini person. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tarot cards here. I am going to shuffle them really well with my left hand. And I'm going to think about Aries. Okay, Aries. I'm going to take off my glasses. I don't need them now. Okay, so Aries. Now, all of you Aries are just feeling Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Brand new beginning for all the all the Gen Zs who were born with Saturn and Aries, who are like 25, 26, 27, 28. You're going to have your first Saturn return. And if you're twice as old as that, you get your second Saturn return. So new beginning in terms of dreams. Be your own shaman, your own spiritual authority, your own artist. Okay, everybody's an artist, said Don Miguel Ruiz. So Aries, you get Libra. Okay, this is your opposite sign. This is kind of a nice symbol, a nice balance here. Relationships. So this can represent a new structure to a new relationship, new kind of spiritual relationships, a sense of seeing yourself in a new way, because you have to have that balance. You know, Aries is all about me. I am. So people are going to be self-centered in a new way, but in a compassionate way, because it's Neptune. Neptune's always compassionate, dreamy, and a structure to all those Pisces people and all that Pisces energy that we've been under since 2011, which we're not finished with yet. But we just have one more go around to move into the new cycle in 2026. So Libra, balance. Where are you out of balance in your life? You know, Saturn says you got to play by the rules. Okay, you may not like it. Saturn in Aries is curb your enthusiasm, very literally. If you like that show, if you don't like that show, that's literally what it means. So Saturn puts the brakes on you, Aries. So this is where you have to stop and say, well, I'm not just a lone wolf in the world. There's other people out there. I have to think about them. Gee, okay, what do you want? You know, how do we relate to each other? Okay, so opening up to new relationships, that's a good thing. And learn to flow a little bit more. Neptune is the flow, okay? So balance could be justice issues. If you feel something is unjust, this would be the time to go after it. Karmic balance, where are you out of balance karmically? Okay, that's what you need to think about, Aries. Okay, so let's give you an extra card here with the Muse Tarot, just to see how that literally, very literally, balances out. Okay, so you get the number 3 here. So the number 3, if you're familiar with the traditional tarot, this is also called the Empress. It's a very different, kind of very modern, very pretty technique. So the Empress, again, she's Venus. So this is all about love, Aries, goddess of love, beauty, harmony, the arts. Venus is in Taurus. She's in her glory. So indulge yourself. Also very fertile, creative, feminine, you know, mitigates Aries, Mars-ruled energy. Again, this is balancing the masculine and feminine polarities, which are complementary. Okay. All right. So Taurus, let's get to Taurus now. Because we know that Venus is in Taurus for this month, basically. Let's see what Tauruses get. Okay, and Tauruses are just finally finishing up Uranus leaving their sign. All right, so Taurus, you get the Devil, the number 15 here. So the Devil is a very misunderstood card. The Devil was created by Christianity, actually. They created the concept of witches, that kind of negative witch thing, which were, you know, just to basically murder medicine women, midwives, and take over their property. So the Devil is illusion, getting caught in the material plane, which Tauruses tend to do because they very much identify with being in the body. That is Taurus's job. There's nothing wrong with it. We are in the body for a reason, but don't get seduced. Venus in Taurus is very seductive. You know, she puts on her girdle, you're hooked. Don't get seduced by some bribe maybe, or something that promises money, but maybe it's going to trap you. You know, the Devil is the trapper. You don't want to get your soul caught in the devil's chains, right? So be careful of that, Taurus. Venus and Taurus will amplify that. So it could be also projection in relationship. That's what this is all about, because the Devil's really an illusion, okay? Where am I caught in some illusion in a relationship about who I am, even self-identity? You know, a lot of all this Aries energy is about self-identity. Who am I? You know, Saturn is going, yeah, who are you? Are you your ancestors? Neptune goes, no, you're everybody. So it could be kind of confusing in a way for everyone. But again, remember that the Devil weaves this web of illusion. Okay. And okay, so let's see, Taurus. Let's see what you get in the Muse Tarot. Right. You get the High Priestess, the number 2. So the number 2 in the tarot, the High Priestess, this is the moon. She is a kind of active part of the moon, actually, in the Tree of Life. So she represents your dreams, creativity, meditation, psychic energy. Pay attention to your dreams, your psychic energy that will help you to not get caught in the wrong thing or get seduced by anything like that. Listen to your intuition. The number 2 is also about balance, communication, communicating the rational and the intuitive side of the brain. So you are standing on this kind of holding the veil between what's real and what isn't. This is really what the devil is, what I was just talking about. So there's a synchronicity here. Okay. The High Priestess, your intuition will never go wrong. And Taurus is very strong gut instincts. All right. So Gemini. So Gemini, we're going to finish up your season. So enjoy it for the next 3 weeks, basically. Gemini, make hay while the sun shines. Hi, everybody who's new that just came on. So Gemini, you get Aries here. You get the Emperor. So again, a new beginning. So get all fired up. The Aries planets, Saturn, Neptune, are in a positive aspect to Aries, Gemini. Everything's like fire and air right now for a lot of it. So you may want to take new responsibilities, to be the boss. You're dealing with a boss, a father figure, some kind of authority. You need to use your power. This card represents power. And also foundation, building a new foundation, but also boundaries. Again, Saturn in Aries is boundaries. This is a card about working with the 4 elements. Everything is contained in the 4 elements, our bodies, everything we do. It's like in the West, it's kind of like what they use in China with Feng Shui. They have a different way of explaining the elements. But anyway, Aries, new initiative. Okay, go. All right. So Gemini, let's see what else we got here. Gemini, you get the Death card. Okay, this is a really beautiful Death card. It's a moth, like a moth to a flame. So inevitably, everything's going to die. So it's interesting to get the Emperor, which represents Aries, the beginning. So always be mindful of the end. That is not usually a Gemini trait. Gemini is kind of like, well, they do go back and forth, the angel, devil, off, on, in a way that is apropos. But you want to think about, if I start this, what is it going to be like at the end? You know, where is this going to take me? So very much about, I would say, forethought. Again, Saturn, Aries, you are going to look before you leap, very definitely. Okay. So what is attracting you? The moth to the flame. Rumi made some beautiful poetry about spirituality being like, we are like moths to the flame. Okay. And that would be Neptune and Aries, right? In a way. Okay. So a moth is also like a butterfly, something that's changing, transforming from the caterpillar into the butterfly. A moth is like a more mundane, like maybe your dreams, your new impetus needs to be more practical, not so flashy, not so showy, like a beautiful butterfly. Moths kind of get ignored, but I always like them, actually. Big moths like this. Okay. All right. So Cancer, now, because Sun's moving into Cancer, Jupiter's moving into Cancer, you need to get ready to really rest on your laurels, I would say, in your home. And yeah, really do that. And you get the Empress here. So the Empress is Venus, okay? She's the goddess. Cancer is a water sign representing the mother. So this is, in this card, this is Venus in her motherly aspect. She's usually shown as a pregnant woman. So again, very, very fertile, very, very giving, very nurturing. It's all about food. It's all about making sure that every child is fed. I know that's a kind of a modern breastfeeding, not breastfeeding thing, but every child being fed means no more starvation, thinking about the poor children dying in the world these days. How can we call on the great mother? And at this point, Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer is really going to emphasize the voice of mothers, the power that the mothers have, because really they bring birth to everything. They control the purse strings, you know. So if all women got together and said, we're going to make sure that all the children are nurtured, everybody's housed, everybody's taken care of, nobody goes hungry, that would be a big thing. Okay. Jupiter rules international women, so reaching out to women who aren't as privileged, they don't have first world problems as we do here. We are very fortunate. So sharing, caring, opening up your home, listening to the womb. The womb is really the source for women of all their knowledge, and it has been overlooked and forgotten and suppressed. So that, and listen to your stomach. Again, it could be about eating much more high quality food, getting more benefits from it, creativity, launching a new creative project. Okay, Cancer. All right, so let's give you another card, Cancer. Somebody said they love moss. Okay, that's nice. You get the World card. So again, just like I was saying, women taking over the world here, Jupiter in Cancer, educating the world, feminine values, very different. You know, women are finally going, we can't work in this patriarchal defined workforce. When we have families, even if we don't have children, women are biologically meant to be relationship natured. Okay. But everybody has an inner feminine. So your feminine nature is going to be stronger. You might want to help somebody less advantaged, give money. And definitely, where are you going to step out in the world with this beautiful, nurturing, caring values? Okay. Now, Saturn rules this card actually as well. So Saturn and the Sun, Cancer, they're all going to be squaring off. That's pressure. That's good. It pushes you into action. All right. So Leo. Okay. So see what we got here. Okay. You get the dot card, and this is the mystery card in the deck. Hi from LA. Welcome if you're late. It's just fine. You can watch from the beginning. It will be recorded. So this is a very special card in the deck. I use this deck because of this one card. On the Tree of Life, which the tarot is based on in the Kabbalah, there's 10 sephiros or spheres in the tarot, but there's an 11th one, a mystery one, which is the most powerful. And it's this one. It's called the Ot. It represents an invisible bridge between the lower structure that we're in dimensionally to the higher. Okay. I like to call this the calling card from your holy guardian angel, which is the whole point of the tarot. And really, that's kind of Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, you know. So this is a good thing for Leo, not just listening to your heart, excuse me, and your willpower, but your higher self. Okay. So listen to that, tune into that. The heart will tell you that as well. Okay. So listening to your higher power, your guardian angels are listening to your prayers as well, Leo. Sorry, I'm just going to take a drink. All right. So I'm finding that when I talk to clients lately, or when I'm doing things like that, I'm picking up on everybody's energy. So needing to clear my throat there. Sorry. Not supposed to do that when you're on broadcast, is clear your throat, but I'm going to have to. All right. So then you get the devil. So part of you wants to listen to your higher self, and the ego, that's the devil, says no. So this is where the struggle, you know what I mean? Maybe you're, Leo, fighting your angels, you know, like in the Bible, you know, don't fight your angels, you know, listen to your higher self. Okay, don't get seduced by that devil again. Okay, so let's get on to Virgo here. So Virgo, now the South Node is in Virgo. So for all Virgos and wherever Virgo is in your chart, we're releasing a lot of old health issues, perfectionist issues. Okay, so Virgo, you get the wishing card. So this card here, again, I like to put in a couple of these different cards here just to change it up a bit. This is the wishing card, and I get to be your fairy godmother, Virgo, and give you 9 wishes, okay? So, but be very careful with what you wish for, because the universe will always send you exactly what you wish for unconsciously. Now, this is Jupiter in Pisces. So again, it's the most exalted for Jupiter as well. Jupiter rules Pisces. So write down your 9 wishes, and it's not about manifesting stuff. Okay, it's not about commercialism. It's not about manifesting Lamborghinis. It's about how can I keep that spiritual flow going, overflowing, so that those 9 cups are like this fountain of 9 overflowing cups of love, unconditional love. Jupiter in Pisces, right? So write down your wishes, think about them, okay? And then I would say the next, that Cancer on another water moon, you would do some water energy, water pujas, especially with Jupiter in Cancer, and release and put that out into the world, okay? Virgo. All right, so Virgo, let's give you a helping hand card here. All right, so Virgo, you get the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter. I just mentioned that planet, didn't I? Okay, so again, these are both Jupiterian cards. So Virgo, you get a double Jupiter plus Jupiter in Cancer energy here. So Wheel of Fortune, take some risks. You know, Virgos sometimes are very too scared to take risks. You know, they're OCD a little bit. This is encouraging you to take a risk, to travel, to expand your education, expand your budget maybe. a little bit more, factor in some luxury there. And generally be optimistic and trust that the universe has your back. That's Jupiter. Jupiter is the ha-ha, the Santa Claus, the big comedian, optimism, jovial, that means Jupiter, okay? So it can be good, okay? It's a feel-good time for you. All right, so Libra. Let's see what Libras get here. Okay, Libra. Okay, you get the Death card. Scorpio, endings. Don't be afraid. Nobody's going to die, Libra. But this could be a time when you have to put an end to your relationships that are not working. Let it go. Really cut those karmic cords. You don't want to prolong any pain or suffering if it's just not working. Okay, so if it's out of balance, if it's not really serving your higher purpose, then let it go. Okay, so if you've been waiting for a sign to leave a situation, any kind of situation, could be work, could be family, could be, again, love, this is a sign to leave it, but to learn through going deep into your soul process. What is it that I need to learn from this? And once I get it, I don't have to repeat this same old lesson. Okay. So Libra, let's see what you got here. Okay, Libra, you get, as a helping card, you get the Chariot. This is a very beautiful Chariot. I love it that it's her she's radiating from her tummy there. And again, with Jupiter and Cancer squaring all you Librans, again, getting into the driver's seat with your emotions. That's the Chariot, it's Cancerian energy. The emotional body is what the soul uses to express itself. And we come here to experience our emotions and to really grow, because it's through our emotional bodies that we grow. So Libra, this is a sense of nurturing yourself more instead of being so much focused on what other people want. Could be family issues, could be a child. Again, the Death card, if, when I do end up meeting a lot of women at events who have had miscarriages and private readings, and again, you have to let go if something didn't work to make way for new fertility. And this is Cancerian, the Chariot, new fertility, new creativity, just opening up, nurturing, self-nurturing, inner child work. Okay, inner child work, Libra. So you want to stop those negative patterns in love. You got to do the inner child work, bottom line. Okay. All right. So Scorpio. Let's see what Scorpio's got here. Okay, Scorpio gets the Tower. Okay, so this card here, the number 16, is the big cosmic kind of wake-up call where the inner light goes on, the inner eye opens, you see it. Okay, you see what's going on. Now, for Scorpio, they kind of always are focused on this. So this could be a time of a peak, wonderful thing happening for you where all of your hard work, your resourcefulness, your focus, your obsession, kind of, okay, bingo, the light goes on there. Okay, and the old structures collapse. And Scorpio is all about death and rebirth and change and destruction. Everything has to be destroyed. That's what I was going to say about the Death card there. One of my shamanic teachers, Araya Mountain Dreamer, who wrote the invitation, had said to us, to the group of us that worked with her in the Dream Star Lodge years ago, 30 years ago, that even if to get pregnant, you're going to die as a single woman. If you get married, you die as a single person to become a union. So death, part of growth. Okay. So letting go of the old ego structures, there could be a kind of big cosmic slap in the face as well, which might sting, but might be a good thing. If you realize, okay, what is it I'm supposed to learn here? Okay. Good time for change, Scorpio. Okay. Scorpios like change. Okay. Even though they're a fixed sign, they're about change. Okay. So Scorpios, let's give you an extra card here. Again, you got 2 towers. just like the Lord of the Rings. Okay, maybe you have to watch that movie. 2 towers at once. Okay, so maybe you better examine, what is that tower? Is it the Tower of Power? Is it the Tower of Song? That's a Leonard Cohen song. What is this ivory tower that you're in? It's a metaphor for being intellectually superior, and that's what the tower is all about. It's going to crash your false superiority. Okay, so Scorpio, maybe you should take stock of maybe I'm out of my mind here, out of bounds, or too self-important or something, because you may get the cosmic slap in the head or the trip to wake you up. Okay. All right. So Sagittarius. So for all fire signs, me included, Leos, you're benefiting from all the Saturn, Neptune, Aries energy. All right. So Sagittarius, you get the universe here. So the universe, again, Saturn or the world, traditionally 21, end of the cycle. This is where you get the lesson. You go, okay, been there, done that, went through all the stages. I get it. I got it. I take responsibility for creating everything in my life. As shocking, as painful, as crazy as that may seem, I take responsibility for it, and then I'm free. This card always shows a naked woman representing the soul or the anima, dancing free in space with the 4 fixed signs around her. Okay, so maturity, responsibility, boundaries, limits. Sagittarius, you're pretty open-minded, easygoing, and you kind of let other people do their own thing, but maybe this is the time when you have to call some no's. Okay, all right. Also can represent new structures. You're building something, new website, whatever you're building. You want to see it to the end. It gives you discipline. Sagittarians need that. Okay. So Sag, let's give you an extra card here. Okay. Sagittarius, you get the moon. This is a lovely pink moon here. The moon, so using your intuition, the mysterious. Sagittarians is the most mystical of signs in a way, besides Pisces. So the moon represents emotions. It represents night. It represents going out looking at the stars. It represents listening to your dreams. The moon, this is the dark side of the moon traditionally. So again, fear. What is it that you're so scared of that if you put up those boundaries, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, you're kind of a lone wolf, Sagittarius. Don't think you're afraid to be alone. So, you know, what is it under the moon, under the dark moon? Fear. It is also a rebirth. You know, in the Crowley deck, I like that symbol of the moon. It's more like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck where it's, you know, going between the twin towers again. It is the baby being born down the birth canal, the symbol of the moon, I believe, and having faith that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so a rebirth. Okay, so Capricorn. So Capricorn energy. Let's see what Capricorns get. Again, Saturn, your leading planet, your ruling planet in Aries, represents new beginnings for all Capricorns and also Aquarius, because Saturn also rules Aquarius. All right, you get the Hangman. So the number 12, the Hangman, is one of 3 special cards in the tarot. This is the baptism by water, Capricorn. And Capricorn is a sea goat. You got to remember that it is deeply rooted in the ocean of the unconscious. They are very emotional. They just don't like to show it. They put the lid on it because they have to cope. They have to be responsible in the world. So this can be letting go, really letting go of stuff that's toxic, that isn't serving your higher purpose. It's about not being the scapegoat, very literally. That is a Capricorn thing. Don't take the blame. You know, you work so hard, and then sometimes they get very frustrated because they've just overworked and other people don't match up. Well, then don't do that anymore. And don't get hung up in stuff that you don't need to. Okay. Surrender, let go, good time to face addictions because it's about new beginnings, all right, new actions as well. Okay. So Capricorn, let's see what you get here. You get number 20 here. So this is a beautiful card. 20 is traditionally called Judgment Day in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. In the other deck, I use the Crowley deck. It's called the Aeon, and the Aeon is a term that Carl Jung used, and I believe Rudolf Steiner used as well, representing the new age, new birth. So the Hangman, when you let go, Capricorn, something new is born, a new you. You let go of the judgments of who you are and what you can be and what you can do, and you rise again. So this is a rebirth for you. You know, the more you let go, the more you get to be reborn. Okay. So Aquarius, again, traditional astrology, Saturn rules Aquarius. And in modern astrology, Uranus rules Aquarius. So for everybody who's in Aquarius, Uranus at that very last degree kind of tells you to get very grounded, very focused, put the finishing touches on the last 7 years. Since 2018, Uranus has been in Taurus. Okay, you get, in this deck, it's number 11. This is the strength card. Traditionally, you can see that the imagery is the same. It's called something different. Some decks have 8, some decks have 11. This is, anyway, the strength card, Leo, which is your shadow side. You got to remember that you think about any sign, you have to think about the opposite. That's the shadow side. So you always work with those, again, complementary polarities. So Aquarius, it's your time to step into your leadership with your heart. Okay, Aquarius can be transhuman AI, get a little bit too caught up in that stuff. Remember that you have a heart, okay? Remember the Tin Man. The Tin Man is a machine that relates to AI. He wanted a heart, okay, in The Wizard of Oz. So this could be a new relationship, a very fiery, passionate affair coming into your life, Aquarius, holding your values up, okay, at the highest degree, and being free, not being afraid to roar, to be courageous, Aquarius, okay. But remember, you have a heart, okay. So it could be a new love, of course. All right, so Aquarius, let's see what you got here. Is a helping card. Okay, here's doing it again, live. 2 strength cards, 2 strength cards, 2 tower cards, okay. So again, this mirror image strength, you can see in this one's a different form of it, but the woman is riding the lion. The lion represents courage, daring the king. So the feminine tops the masculine here, okay, or it's a feminine integration of the masculine, right? And so again, strength. What's in your heart, Aquarius? What is it that you really value the most? What is love for you? Are you doing what you love to do? How can you keep a heart in all that technology? And remember that you're human, right? This is the human world. We have to stay human, okay? So putting your heart out there, don't be afraid to express yourself fully, your feelings. We all know you have them. Again, it could be a powerful woman coming into your life as well, because this is a very feminine thing. Remember, the lioness is the most courageous. She protects her children. It's very much the Jupiter and Cancer motif for the year ahead. All right, and now Pisces. So this one's been a bit longer than normal just because I kind of slowed down and there was more aspects. Okay, so Pisces, you get Virgo, which is your shadow side as well. So again, staying grounded. For Pisces, it's a big relief, I would say, for Saturn leaving the sign. And for Neptune, you might feel kind of out of your element because Neptune's been ruling you since 2011. And now you're in Aries energy. So you might want to go into a retreat. Got to remember that also this year, 2025, is a number 9 year. So for everybody, this element of connecting with nature, listening to your own inner wise guide, the hermit, he's very protective. So Pisces, if you're feeling kind of shocked by being in Aries energy, remember to listen to your body, remember to ground, walk barefoot when you can, get your hands on the dirt, remember your guts, to eat really well, to stay humble, which you always do. Again, grounded, practice work, okay, so there could be new work coming for you as well. And the end of a cycle, the number 9 means we're ending a major cycle, okay. All right, so don't be afraid to be alone. Okay, that's the most important thing about that one. Pisces are used to be alone. They're the 12th house. They're like the cosmic closet sign of the zodiac. All right, so Virgo, you get Temperance. So Temperance number 14 is what it's traditionally called. In the other deck I use, the Thoth deck, this is the card called Adjustment, right? Adjustment. So balance, it's about balance, right? Tempering things. So it is, so it's the card of art, sorry, not justice, art, alchemy. So turning lead into gold, that Saturn is lead, gold is the sun. So tempering things out. So not going to extreme, I think it's a big deal from Pisces to jump into the fire. So be careful, you don't want to get burned up. You don't want to burn the house down. Tempering things, making sure you stay in balance. This is very extreme times we're in. Pisces is the big, psychic sponge of the zodiac. So remember to temper things out because you're in the middle of creating something absolutely new. That's what temperance really is. And it is also a card of alchemy, kind of integrating. They call it the kind of like the soulmate card. You could call it that, or the sacred marriage card. So integrating your opposite signs there as well. Okay. All right. So I want to thank you all for being here with me and for bearing with me. I'm going to give a little plug here, if I may. First of all, do join the Cosmic Intelligence Agency and read Time Lords magazine. It's now an online magazine. And I'm also working for another organization now called Magicus University. I'm teaching astrology workshops there. That's on Eventbrite. So if you go to Magicus University, I'm going to be doing a workshop on June the 8th, the day before Jupiter enters Cancer, about that. So if you want to check that out, and you can get in touch with me at my website. I do personal readings, events, workshops. So yes, so I'd be very happy to help you out. And yeah, have a wonderful June and happy solstice until next month. We'll see you soon. All right. Sending you many blessings of the day. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.